Hello. Welcome to episode 10 of Quantum Recovery Podcast. I'm your host, Andeea, and today we are talking about what's next. You're in recovery now. What do we do? So, everybody's journey into recovery is different. If you have not heard my story, you can go back to the first or second episode. I share with you my story, how I entered recovery and how I found my community and all of that. So everybody's journey in recovery is going to look different. And at the same time, none of us are terminally unique. I remember the first time I actually heard someone share their story, and it brought me to tears because I actually thought I was the only one. Because guess what? I didn't have a community. I didn't have people around me talking about what they went through. And we need to talk about what we went through. We definitely do. We need a space. We need like-minded individuals that want to stay in recovery and eventually be recovered. And so, in order to do this, we have to be brave. We have to have courage. So, when we enter that space of courage, our frequency is actually now neutral, which is so beautiful. So, some people might get formal treatment. And then that is how they're instructed, they're guided, they are counseled, all the things into a path for after they leave treatment. Naturally so. Some of us have to find that path on our own. This is one of the reasons that I've created this space so people can know the path. I'm very, very passionate about helping people get into long-term recovery. And then once they're in long-term recovery, transform, skyrocket into their goals, into the person that they want to be, not the person that they were. This is a space to talk about who we are, but also, so being in the present, but also, who do I want to be? Who am I? Recovery is a rebirth of ourselves. We are literally rebirthing ourselves and we are rewriting a story. So I tell you right now, if you're still telling yourself the same BS, it's not serving you. We have to change our core beliefs in order to move forward. We can't stay stagnant and continuing to process everything. Not that, like, don't get me wrong, all of that stuff is good and I needed all of it. And when I say all that stuff, what I'm talking about is education, my community, therapy, places to process all of the things. I 100% needed that. And once I had those things, I had what I call, what we get out of therapies and processing, golden nuggets. What are the golden nuggets? The golden nuggets are the awarenesses of irrational thinking and irrational beliefs that are limiting to us, cognitive distortions, defense mechanisms. Those are all very low frequency, low vibration, shame being the lowest. So we need to release that. And what I am creating here is a space to help you transform. So if you're listening to this and you're in early recovery and you're like, oh, she's talking about, like, I'm long-term recovery. I'm not even there yet. I'm like still struggling and still think I'm going to relapse every second and have triggers and cravings and all the things. Let me give you some hope right now. It will not be that way forever. The early years in recovery are difficult and hard. They are. And I'm not going to sugarcoat that. Recovery is the most difficult thing I ever did, that I ever did. Quitting using actually made me feel my disease of addiction. The 12 years that I used substances to numb and hide, I wasn't feeling my addiction. I wasn't very aware of it. Sure, I was aware of the people I was hurting and all of that, so I knew it was happening. But I didn't feel the disease until I actually stopped using. and was brave enough to enter into a new life knowing this is not me. This is not how I want to be forever. So going back to the journey. So, like I said, some of us get that treatment, some of us don't. In fact, the statistic I think is 11% or 10% of people get treatment, and the rest of us don't. The rest of us are finding community. We're getting guided by maybe a counselor or someone to help us, or our family maybe did an intervention and maybe we can't afford it. Maybe we don't have insurance, whatever the case may be. Then we enter and we do whatever is told to us to do. Usually it is entering a community like anonymous group of some kind, or there are many, many different recovery groups, which is for a totally different episode. But then some of us just simply get therapy, and maybe that is the start of the journey. But regardless, we want to move into rebirthing ourselves and rewriting our story. We can't continue to say all the same self-talk and all the things. Now, this leads me into talking about our environment. We also cannot get well in the same environment we got sick. So this has double meanings in recovery, because in recovery, we know, like, if our home environment is really toxic, let's say our partner is also using, or maybe it's roommates or whatever, and we know we can remove ourselves from that situation, or at the very least create the boundaries that we need. We just have to be brave, right? We have to vibrate higher so we can be courageous and do those things. And so there's that social aspect of the environment. But then there's also like our actual environment. And our actual environment these days in our modern world is quite toxic. For instance, our light environment, as we've been talking about on the podcast. So my whole mission and goal is to help you transform. And I've actually created a course that is going to be the first stepping stone for you to start to be aware of your environment, get connected to nature. It's called the Quantum Recovery Reset. This is just the first stage, baby. This is just the first stage. We're starting with this because it is going to be the baseline of everything we talk about. But we're like, if this is you know how I love my triangle. So if we're talking about a triangle here, this is the base of it. This is the base knowledge of the triangle to start to shift and be really aware of our environment, where we're putting our physical bodies. Are we connected to the earth? This is the study of light, water, and magnetism and how it relates to our well-being and health. And from there, we are only moving up. We're only moving up, because I imagine for you, the transformation that I've had. I am so freaking excited to talk about this stuff. You guys have no idea yet. It's your mind is going to be blown, and this course is only the base of the triangle that we are climbing. Oh my gosh, I just realized, like, my little triangle shelf with my crystals on it back there, right there. Like, think of that, what we're doing as the base. This is the foundation. This is our light environment has to be dialed in so we can learn all the other things and start to move up. And I'm talking about lots of aspects here. I'm talking about not only our health and well-being, but I'm also talking about our relationships, all the things. We're going to end up covering all the things needed. But right now, we're talking about the base. So whether you are in if you're in early recovery, oh, this is critical information for you to start feeling better. I know for me, I did not feel good for the first 12 years of my recovery. And I know I just said 12 years, and that's scary, but it is because that was just my experience. That was just my experience. I didn't sleep that great, and I also had lots of pains. I had a lot of gut issues. I I had an inability to lose weight. I could not lose the weight that I wanted to lose in order to love my body. I had my body dysmorphia kind of warped into my journey all over the place every so often. I didn't fully trust myself, and this led to all sorts of things. I, was a chronic yo-yo dieter. Anyway, I know that I am not alone in the body piece. Many of us come into recovery, we gain weight and we can't lose it. And it makes us feel really down on ourselves. We're going to cover that too. I got you. Remember, we're transforming all the things. So if you want to enter this environment, this is the first stage, is the quantum recovery reset. So like I said, whether you're in early recovery or long-term recovery, this will benefit you in so many ways, because in long-term recovery, we also don't, sometimes there's some things that they might not be post-acute withdrawal symptoms, but they are things that are just underlying health issues that you've had for a long time, maybe even before your active use, maybe after your active use, whatever those things are. This protocol will only add and make better whatever you are doing, maybe with a medical provider. Because remember, this is for educational purposes only, and you're going to take what you want and you're going to leave the rest. Like always, I always tell that to people. And this is also not just for women, it is also for men. For many years, I was a men's counselor. So you men out there, I see you, and I know you're attracted to my energy. And you're very special to me too. Not just talking to the women. I know I attract a lot of women into my energy as well. It doesn't matter also how you identify. Doesn't everybody is welcome into this space. It is not an only space. It's for everyone. Everyone can benefit. In fact, I say, yeah, if you're a human, all humans come into this space, learn these things. We have to break free from all this modern conditioning and modern world that we are surrounded by, or we're not going to survive. We must connect with nature. I'm going to teach you how to do that, and I'm going to teach the reasons why you're doing it, and I'm also going to apply it to your recovery, no matter what stage of recovery you're in. Ooh, I'm getting passionate because I want this. There are 46.2 million people with diagnosed substance use disorders. That's not even talking about people with behavioral addictions or people who are suffering that have never been diagnosed. So I know I am talking right now to millions of people that can use this information to help you feel better and start to thrive in your recovery. And these little things, you will start seeing max changes with the simplest things that you learn and start to implement. And it's going to be different for everybody where you start, what you do first. If you want to learn what the biggest needle movers are, sign up for my email list. You will get the 3 biggest needle movers, and I will explain them to you. That is only the start. Are you ready? Are you ready to transform with me? I know you're ready to let go of that old shit that you've been telling yourself. All that negative self-talk, that is keeping us at a low vibration. I want you vibrating high. This space that you are entering is going to be full of people who want the same thing. We're going to be talking about the present and then where we want to be, which what we call is our end result self or our new identity, whatever you want to call that person you strive to be, that you are, that purpose. And if you don't know your purpose, don't let that intimidate you either. Like you are going to be able to figure it out because you are going to be more connected. Your health is going to start to soar and compound with all of the things that you learn. This quantum recovery reset, we are very hyper focused on our light environment, and I'm going to explain all the pieces to you. I've already explained some pieces to you in some past episodes. That's not what this episode is about today. You can go back and listen to those things. There's lots of good golden nuggets that I've given you to start you on your journey. But this course also, I purposely priced it. It is going to be the most impact probably on you because it's going to be the underlying thing that you need to have in place for to move up the triangle, the pyramid, the mountain, whatever you want to call it. To move up, you have to have this baseline knowledge. I want you to have this baseline knowledge. You will start to transform from there. This is why so the pre-sale today, well, no, actually when this airs, the pre-sale will be over, but it is $111. I want you to pay that price on purpose. I want you to pay $111. That angel number, if you will, is a sign that you're on the right path. It is a very low investment for a very high transformation that is going to be the baseline of the transformation as you move up and as you stay in my energy so I can teach you. I want you to be able to experience what I'm experiencing. The happy, joy free. It is definitely real. I'm living it. And I want that for you. I want you to be striving in your recovery. So I think I have nailed my message in. I hope that this has inspired you to take the first step. There will be a link in the show notes to sign up for my email list. In fact, you can just go to my website to sign up for the email list. Super easy click. But I will include the link to the Quantum Recovery Reset because it is the start of your transformation. It is the baseline of that triangle. We want to have this stuff nailed in. We want to have these small behavioral shifts in place because it's going to set you up for success as you learn more and more and more about quantum recovery. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited. All right, everybody. I will let you go and I will see you next week. Please, just start thinking about what I said. Start thinking about what you want. Who's that person that you are? Who's that person that you want to be? What does she or he or they or Z look like? What do they act like? What do they feel every single day? I know that you know because you're the only one that knows. You are the only one. You are the master of that. I can't tell you that part. I can help you, though. I can definitely help you. All right, everybody. Drink water. I'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found value in this information. And if you did, please share it. Another way to support the podcast is to leave a 5-star review. If you want to connect, you can message me on Instagram or email me at andearay@outlook.com. And remember, drink water.